Hello and welcome to another Royally Rich Lifestyle show with me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And me, Helena Chard.
Well, it's another great show again this week. Lots of royal news, so let's just roll the titles and let's get on with the show. So, Helena, what have you got on for us this week? What's the royal news?
Oh, the royal news. Well, we have just been updated, Ian, that Prince William is going to be attending the funeral of Pope Francis on behalf of King Charles as the world leaders gather in Rome. So he'll be at the Vatican on Saturday for this historic event. And as we know, it's sort of tradition now. Prince William is the sort of global statesman and future king. So he's meeting the likes of Trump, etc. But obviously, the big story is obviously Pope Francis died aged 88. Deeply loved, courageous Pope, and really known to push himself to exhaustion. And he also enjoyed rocking the boat, but did it for good purpose. Anyway, so I just think we've all been watching it pan out. But I think it was lovely. I've seen some really great stories, and I think Massimiliano Strapetti, who was a Vatican nurse, he did incredible work for Pope. He provided 24-hour care in the lead up to his death and really pushed him to get out and see the people and do his speech. And he actually also witnessed him last minute as he gave his gesture of farewell. But we all know, we remember him, Pope, as simple and popular. What a remarkable life and legacy,
Yeah.
I think.
And
And I think,
I gather that the Union Jack flags have been flying at half mast on royal palaces and royal buildings this week, and also on changing of the guard. The music has been quite somber to actually befit the occasion.
oh, okay, I hadn't realised. But an interesting thing as well that there's a really great book. It's called Pope in the Ghetto, and it's actually Pope Francis' autobiography, and it sort of charts his life from being a very young boy born in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and it's a really interesting read. So something that maybe people would like to pop out and get. But also interesting that obviously, who will the next pope be? And apparently, there are 8 candidates on the conclave list. And the papal conclave, I was looking into it, is a gathering of the College of Cardinals. They convene to elect a bishop of Rome. And it's been going since the 14th century, and the Pope has to be under 80 years old. Goodness me. So it's ancient tradition, religious, ritual, and politics, and it's entwined in picking the new Pope. And apparently, uh, every Pope has been a cardinal, and the candidate needs to get 2/3 of the votes, and it can take such a long time. And when when a pope's been chosen, and because the chemical that they burn the ballots, and the chemical they put in that when they're burning it, if it's black smoke that people see, obviously they haven't chosen the pope. But as soon as the white smoke pipes out, people in St. Peter's Square, they'll see it and they're all shouting and screaming because obviously the pope's been picked. But it would be interesting because there are, in fact, I think 3 that are travelling from the UK, but I don't believe they will be picked. But maybe I'm being slightly biased. So
And
it's pretty something, isn't
And
it?
apparently, yes, apparently it's in the Sistine Chapel where they all congregate as well with Michelangelo's, ceiling. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an interesting time.
Yeah, very interesting time. So, and obviously Charles and Camilla, they must be so thrilled that they actually visited. And, well, he actually hosted them, didn't he, on April the 9th when they
Yeah.
travelled to Rome for their anniversary. Anyway, lots to. I've still got loads to read up on that. I find it incredibly interesting. I hadn't realised what a great guy. Obviously, he was a good guy, but not exactly how much that he's done. And moving on, 7 drum rolls for Prince Louis. And I say drum
Yes.
rolls because we know that he loves his drums. And
Yes.
obviously, the new picture that you can see is a lovely photograph of cheeky chappy Prince Louis with his missing 2 front teeth. And he looks absolutely, isn't he beautiful? He's really grown up. Definitely, he's one of the youngest royals, but definitely one of the most favourite. I think everyone loves him, and he's a young man of my heart because I hear he loves beetroot. I love beetroot too. Photographs was taken by Josh Shinner. In Norfolk earlier. He took the black and white Christmas photograph a little while ago. But you can see him there, and there's bluebells in the background, and yeah, it's really beautiful. And there's extra little bits that are going to that. Obviously now he's 7. He's got new eligibility boarding options at Lambrook School, which is where all the children go, so he can actually stay there. And also, we've heard recently about Princess Kate's spiritual reawakening that's impacting her whole family dynamic. And apparently Prince George really is her nature pal. He loves being in the thick of things. He loves being out. He loves living in the outdoors. And it's brought everyone a real sense of peace and helped find the balance. Yeah, so really great.
I should think, quite honestly, with his drum kit, they probably wanting to send him somewhere else to stay overnight, just to get a bit of peace and quiet.
Absolutely. Oh, goodness. And also, I just thought I'd mention that it's obviously St. George's Day today. So everyone waving their flags, if they have been waving their flags. It's celebrated on April the 23rd each year. And I always think about it because it's St. George's Day and it's obviously Louis's birthday. But there is a slight question mark about it because apparently, according to church rulings, any Saint's Day that falls on a Holy or Easter week has to move to the following week. So, in fact, it's supposed to be transferred from today to next Monday, the 28th. It's, I think, completely mad. But anyway, what can I say? As we know, St. George is the revered patron saint of England, and I think it was King Edward III that made St. George the patron saint of England when he formed Order of the Garter. But I'm not going to go into that at the moment because that's obviously a chivalry and noble, different kind of event. But it's always lovely to speak about the history, which I love about the UK. So, yes, also talking about the Princess of Wales, the Prince and Princess of Wales will be embracing the simple life. There's a theme at the moment, I think, for those two, for their 14th wedding anniversary. And they're going to be having an overnight in the remote Scottish island. They're going to arrive at the Inner Hebrides on the 29th of April. And I know you'll remember that, Ian, very well, etched on our brains. 29th of April, Westminster Abbey, 2011 was when they were married. And it was a very memorable day, actually. It was a lovely, lovely memory. But they're known as the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay in Scotland, and they're going to be connecting with small community life, and they're meeting craftspeople and farmers, residents, and they're actually helping the community in Mull in the Scottish Islands. I don't know if that's somewhere you know, Ian, because you know Scotland. Mull?
Yeah, no, it's a bit sort of further north than where I used to go, quite honestly, but no, I mean, it is a beautiful country, Scotland. I'm half Scottish myself, and I worked in Scotland for 7 years, so yeah, I know it very, very well. But that's good. So it's always good for them to be promoting Scotland as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's that they're sort of promoting the importance of, the importance of protecting and championing the natural environment. And obviously, what with COP30, the sustainability conference taking place in Brazil. In November, it's all really, really interesting. But I think another interesting fact is 14th wedding anniversary is traditionally marked with gifts of ivory, and obviously Prince William is a prominent campaigner against illegal wildlife trade. So I don't know what you do in situations like that. I don't think people will be giving things like ivory, symbol of destruction, not luxury. But there you are. And their Royal Foundation will announce a partnership to support developing like community spaces within Mull. So it's a lovely thing that they're doing. And I found visiting it.
Excellent.
And I know that's something that you were talking about, Ian, I think the other week.
The Maundy money, yeah.
Yeah, the Maundy, which I find, again, the history behind all these things, I think is stunning. So King Charles, Queen Camilla took part in the traditional Maundy Thursday service. This is just before Easter, all part of Easter celebrations. This year in Durham Cathedral. And it followed the service, the King's Easter message, which was to bring unity and, bring different faiths together, recognise humanitarian aid, war disasters and various things. And he presents commemorative coins to 152 people. And these specially minted coins, 76 given to men, 76 to women, and it's because he is 76 years old. And it's to thank them for their service to the local community and charity. And if you remember last year, Queen Camilla stood in last year for him because he was undergoing treatment. And the Maundy Monday is traditionally given to the elderly, typically to pensioners. And it's one of the oldest ceremonies dating back to the 13th century. So.
Perfect. Well, that's great royal news today. And thank you so much for that, Helena. I know you're not feeling too well today.
You're more than welcome.
So we're now just going to take a short break, and then we're going to bring on our guest for the day. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back to the second part of the show. I now have Otto Cannon Chimendem with me this afternoon, who is a global sustainable leader. Otto, welcome.
Thank you very much, Pelham, for having me. It's nice and amazing to be here.
Thank you. So you're a global sustainable leader. You're committed to restoring fast degrading environments around the world. Tell me a little bit about what started you on this world.
Thank you very much, Pelham, for the interesting, insightful question. It takes me back to my early days, my early childhood. It takes me down memory lane. I would give a lot of the credit to my dad, my late dad, God rest his soul, because my dad is a medical doctor, a veterinary doctor, an agriculturist, and a lecturer. He was into a lot of things. He loved the environment, he loved human beings, he loved the planet, and he loved all of these things to cohabit and coexist in harmony. Somehow I learned it from him. You see, my dad would take a little branch of orange, put it into the stem of a mango tree, and somehow the magic and miracle happens, and it fruits from that branch.
Yes.
All of those things. I got to understand that the environment has to be clean. The environment has to be beautiful and green. And along that path of understanding all these things as it's the right thing to do, as is the right way things should be done, my dog swallowed a plastic bottle cover. My favorite big bulldog swallowed a plastic bottle cover.
Gosh.
And it got stuck in his intestine.
Oh, Lord.
And it killed it. I think that was what sprung me into action. That was what switched on all of these things. And I realized that just the way my dog had died, a lot of other animals, land, sea, and air animals, would be dying from plastic ingestion. I did some research and study around it, and I realized that that's the fact. Then I started some advocacy campaign around waste management, plastic pollution, and then I started a plastic recycling company.
Yes.
Then I set up environment and recycling clubs in schools.
Yes.
And so when the children bring the bottles, we put them together, we take it to the recycling company, we sell it off to them. We started making some money, it became big. And then I realized that there's a lot more to be done, not just plastic, not just waste. Okay, just about then, I heard on the news that a certain state in Nigeria, where I'm from, River State, generated the largest quantity of timber, wood, from logging, from felling of trees. And it poked my heart. I realized they didn't talk about how the trees are replaced. They just boasted about how the trees are cut. Then I organized the Port Harcourt Tree Planting Festival.
Okay.
And it was a big one. We had a lot of people come out, plant trees, and I realized people were excited about it.
Excellent.
It kept going on. And I realized there's more issues. So we decided to do a holistic sustainability advocacy because sustainability encompasses everything from climate change, waste management, pollution, recycling, gender equality, gender pay gap. Everything in the world comes under that umbrella of sustainability. And sustainability, in a nutshell, is about ensuring that the solutions we apply to fix problems of today don't cause more problems for tomorrow. So sustainability is about solving the issues in our world today without creating more for tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
And I understand you've just recently been at the House of Lords for an event. Tell me about that.
Yes, so it's all interconnected, intertwined, interlinked. We've realized that the best way to achieve sustainability globally is a top-to-bottom approach, because we've done a lot of work at the grassroots with people, communities, villages. But if the leaders don't accept and embrace this, then everybody at the grassroots will just be wasting their time, because everything rises and falls on the strength of our policies. And who makes the policies? In organizations and companies, corporations, institutions, they might call it rules and regulations. From government perspective, laws and policies. It's those leaders we try to catch. And that's why we set up the Global Sustainability Summit and awards. So those that have been outstanding and exemplary in their leadership in sustainability, they're honored.
So is it similar to Earthshot and what Prince William is doing?
It's similar to Earthshot, but the difference now is that we discuss, we dialogue, we negotiate, we have conversations. The award comes at the end of the event. It's like at the gala night, at the dinner night, and there's awards for outstanding people. Earthshot is awards only, but there's panel sessions. Like the last one we had on 11th April, there was a panel on energy transition. There was a panel on responsible ethical investment, because everything, is driven by where the money goes. So if the people investing the money are concerned and conscious of sustainability, then it's a win for us. There was a panel on food and water, food, water, and agriculture nexus. There was also a panel on gender disparity and pay gaps. So all of those conversations went on, and we believed after all the conversations, there was a pledge. We call it the Global Sustainability Advocacy Pledge. We had leaders from 37 countries. So when they all take this pledge in the hallowed House of Lords, where laws are made, the respected House of Lords, somehow it would keep resonating in their mind that they took a pledge in that respected chamber. So they have to own it and ensure that they live up to it.
And I know you're a peace ambassador as well with UPF, United Peace Federation. Tell me about that. What drove you towards that type of organization as well?
So we know that the world is only peaceful when everybody is going about their daily job in peace and harmony. But when there's an alteration to that, then there's chaos, then there's disarray. People begin to cause troubles and violence and protests. For instance, let's say a woman in a managerial position earns less than a man in that same position. She becomes unhappy. She becomes agitated. She might cause trouble, and the peace is taken away from the room. Let's take, for instance, someone who loves a clean environment goes around the street, like recently we saw in Birmingham, waste dumped all over the street. Someone sees that the environment is not clean, it's messed up, it's dirty, he can get agitated, start some trouble, and peace is taken away. So the reason I came there is because I realized that all of these people here are here for one singular purpose, peace. And the way they achieve that is by everybody ensuring that whatever they do thrives. It's in every little thing thriving that keeps the world in peace, unity, and harmony. And so I love to be part of it. I joined the Universal Peace Federation, and they realized that we've been doing some outstanding, amazing work. And they say, oh, those are the kind of people we love to work with, and they honored me with the Peace Ambassadorial honor.
And the Universal Peace Federation is a wonderful organisation anyway, and I know we're both strident members of it at the same time. With that type of sort of hat on, or really your sustainability hat on as well, the environment hat on, are there certain countries, I mean, one of the countries springs to mind is places like South America, places like Brazil, where there may be really sort of major issues over environment. Do you focus in on those countries? Or?
So we believe that there's 3 branches of sustainability. We call it the 3 Ps: people, planet, profit. People, planet, profit. So our focus is on, I wouldn't really say our focus is on planet. Our focus is to ensure that these 3 coexist without anyone, overriding or overshadowing the other. For instance, in today's world, we see that profit overshadows people and planet. In every corporation, in every organization, their focus is profit. From the board of directors to the shareholders to the managers, everybody wants to make profit and go home. They don't care whether the operations leave a negative impact on people and planet. That said, our focus is the planet, is the world, not just a particular geographical zone. So if...
Well, what about places like Brazil? They haven't got the best, from what I understand, where there's a lot of logging going on and different things that is causing issues with the planet. Do you try to target countries like Brazil?
Yes, we do, and that's why we're going to be part of the COP30. COP30 is the United Nations Conference of Party, the climate change conference. It's holding in Pelham, Brazil this year. And we've always been part of COP, from Glasgow in Scotland to Egypt to Dubai to Baku in Azerbaijan. We've always participated. We've always had side events. We speak, we learn the voices. And we'll be doing the same in Brazil. In fact, we're going to be in Bonn, the United Nations complex in Bonn, Germany, where they're having the COP30 flagship flag-off event. And then we'll also be in Pelham in Brazil. And part of the reason the United Nations situates this big global conference is it's the biggest they do. The reason why they situate it in the places they choose is to tackle and address some of those pressing issues. For instance, someone might say, why would the United Nations conference on climate change be situated in Baku, an oil city, or Dubai, an oil city? It's basically to bring them closer to the table. Because you can't compel or mandate or force anybody to accept this thing. So when you bring them closer to the table, then people can understand. The same thing with the Amazon rainforest. There's a lot of logging and felling of trees, like you rightly mentioned.
There seems to be a lot of focus on Brazil this year, doesn't there? Because Earthshot is in Brazil.
That's it, yes.
November. And your event is when? Do you know when the other event is?
The COP30 is in November.
So it's both at the
It's
same
apparently
time?
about the same time, yes. And that's to give it a large publicity. So everybody in Brazil would understand that this is happening here and this is their focus. So that way the message goes into the community. The message goes around across borders, across parties, and people can really understand. Because the truth is, not everybody understands these things. Some people just want to survive, first of all.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary where someone in one of the countries where they had elephants was speaking on the media. And he said, no, that God has blessed them with the elephants. So they can, and what he was talking didn't make any sense. But that was his level of understanding. They cut out the tusk. And the elephants or the rhinos are left to bleed and die.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of global law enforcers trying to stop that. in partnership with their local government. But the local communities don't understand. They feel they're being bullied
Yes.
and stopped from, doing the business within their community. So that's the same thing going on in Brazil. People feel they cut the logs and they sell the wood, and that's how they earn a living.
So it's important for you to get a message to them right now, to Brazilians and even to Brazilians in Britain as well, to try and educate them.
100%. It's very important because the Amazon rainforest is not just important to Brazil alone. It's important to the whole world. Some people call it the lungs of the earth. It's the biggest woodland in the world. And if you check from the map of it, you see there's a lot of encroachment. It keeps going. From the other side, people felling it for wood. From this other side, people felling it for real estate. There's a lot of encroachment. So it's very important, because if the Amazon rainforest is the more it's cut short, the lesser the earth would have the capacity to sequester carbon and withhold carbon. And we know that carbon is the greenhouse gas that holds the heat, the temperature in the atmosphere. So it needs to be controlled. And the only way to control that quantity of carbon in the atmosphere is to have bodies like these, natural bodies, sequester and accommodate it. So it's very important for the Amazon rainforest to be properly managed.
Now, you're the founder of Clean Cyclers as well. Tell me a little bit about that. What started that, and tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, so like I said earlier on, when I talked about my dad and my early days, I at some point I realized that these things were not going to be achieved as an individual. We needed to build a network, an army of like-minded people. And so I came together with a friend and we set it up. It was initially set up in Nigeria, and then it was set up in London. And the focus is to build a world where people and nature can thrive. Because the problem we have in our world today is people and nature, people trying to take from nature without replacing, to make profit. So it's about ensuring that people understand these things, be it recycling, be it tree planting, whatever the case may be, is to ensure that there's a balance for people and nature to thrive. And we've had a series of projects, and it's all been championed by Clean Cyclers. So Clean Cyclers is the umbrella body that drives all of these projects we do. Even the summit we had, that was the 4th edition. We've been holding the Global Sustainability Summit and Awards in the House of Lords for 4 years. It's all been championed by Clean Cyclers. So whatever avenue we have to put that message out there, so people can listen and understand, we do that.
Is message very important?
Yes, it's very important.
So it's really that focus. So is that really partly where your projects are focused on, in reality, is to get the message out there more than anything else? Because obviously, to try and change the world, you have to change people's minds first of all.
Yes, to change the world, you have to change people's minds, and that's all of what we do. But then, most of what we've talked about sounds more non-profit, but there's also the profit side of it. We have the recycling, like I told you. Now the recycling has grown, and we've delved into a new space. It's recycling of solar panels. Interesting, right? Okay. So we know solar panels, they have a lifespan. A lot of people didn't know this.
Really?
They have a lifespan. So the first sets that were installed in the late 90s and the early 2000s, they're all just reaching their lifespan. And that's about 20 years. So when that happens, they become waste. They now add to the waste we're trying to manage. So if people realize that these solar panels that we've called clean energy source, they're not even that sustainable, then people would pull away from it. And if people pull away from it, then the whole hope of a clean energy source is defeated. So to keep that hope alive, we ensure that we get all that waste and we recycle it.
Gosh. And you're also the founder of Sustainability Unscripted. Tell me, that sounds very interesting as well. Tell me about that.
So Clean Site Class focuses on the businesses, the recycling, and Sustainability Unscripted focuses on the message, the advocacy, the campaigns, the sensitization, all of that. There's also Green Place Healthcare, which I didn't mention, and that's the medical logistics. But we ensure that, and we always like to tell this story, so people understand that sustainability is not just a thing for the environmentalists. It's not just a thing for the sustainability managers and directors. It's something for everybody, whatever sector, whatever business you do. So for the medical logistics, we use only electric vehicles. Whatever medical logistics, we do about 40 every week across the United Kingdom, from London to Liverpool to Manchester to Cornwall, Plymouth, Darlington, all across. We use only electric vehicles. And then we do international. The international is from, it could be from anywhere. But immediately our staff member gets on a flight, we plant a tree.
Yes.
And the international, we do about 10 a week. So every international job that is done, a tree is planted.
And you have many strings to your bow, I'm reading as well. I was reading this report. Are you attached to the IMF in some ways? Because there was a report that I was reading about you that had an IMF badge on it as well. So is that something that interests you as well?
And what kind of badge was that?
It was a report about you that was on the IMF platform.
Okay.
International Monetary Fund platform, but perhaps you didn't know about that.
I probably didn't.
Okay, that's fine, fair enough.
I know there's a couple of our work that has been published across several platforms,
This was a complete dossier on you.
It was a World Economic Forum.
It might have been the World Economic Forum as well.
Okay,
that
yes,
might have done it, yeah.
yes, yeah. If it's the World Economic Forum, I'm very aware of that because there's the youth wing of the World Economic Forum, which is called the Global Shapers.
Okay.
It's about young people shaping the globe.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've told a lot of our stories. Yeah.
Very good. But you were also a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and also the Nigerian Environmental Society as well. So just
Yes, yeah. So these are
you're a man with many interests.
You can say that again. These are all groups of similar people, like-minded people, associations, unions. You know, so when we work across borders, we meet different people, and we realize that we do similar work. So it's important to stay together with these people because that's the only way the message can be amplified. Because I tell people, as an individual, I'm just a drop. But when we come together, we become an ocean. As an individual, my impact and effort will just cause a little ripple, but together will cause a wave. So it's always important to go together. And that's why I'm part of all those groups and bodies.
And just how can people get in contact with you as well? Because obviously with all your different interests, I should think a large body of people will be interested in hearing what you're saying.
Yes. So my handles across all social media platforms is the same. It's Ottocanon. OTTOCANON. Just my surname and my first name. Okay. Ottocanon. I think it's always easier to contact people via social media these days. Yes. It's faster than emails and phone numbers. Yeah. So,
and I think you were talking about schools at one time. Are you trying to work with schools now as well?
Yes, we do. We do very much because a lot of these things cannot be actualized in this generation. We need to raise the next generation to understand these things. And part of our advocacy is for schools to incorporate sustainability as a subject, as a cause. You know, sustainability, where there's English, there's maths, there's sustainability. So children understand all of these things, understands that whatever we're doing today, good or bad, it leaves a footprint. It leaves an impact. If you're doing good, it leaves good impact. If you're footprint, if you're doing bad, children need to understand this, and that's why we go across schools, teaching and talking to students and children.
Can I ask you briefly, because we don't normally delve into politics, but What do you think about world leaders? I'm thinking of President Trump, especially, not, feeling there's no such thing as global warming. Does that really hurt the cause?
It really bothers me. It really, really does bother me. Even from his previous tenure, it bothers me because that is the problem we're trying to solve. The real problem is from business people. Of course, Trump is a businessman. All business people care about is profit. For instance, he abolished the importation of timber from Canada, and he's trying to get that from Europe. It's not even coming from the business perspective. It's not smart. For instance, Canada produces that kind of wood, and he said, they can grow this wood in America. So first of all, they try to grow it, but it's not the same wood. Then they realize they can import from Germany. And then the importation, the carbon emission, there's just a lot of complexities around his recent policies, which doesn't sit right with me. Leaving the United Nations Paris Agreement. I know that's also what you're talking about. Leaving the United Nations Paris Agreement, it's like a big blow. It puts the whole world back because there were goals, there were set targets to reduce carbon emission to a certain degree, to a certain extent by 2030. But right now, the recent reports have it that we are nowhere on track.
Yeah, no, I understand.
By 2030, instead of making progress towards actualizing that, we're going backwards.
Yeah. I've received reports that, this European wood actually comes from Russia. And it's just being rebranded as European wood in order to get through the different things. That's just an allegation, so I don't know whether this is true or not, but it may be fueling other things at the same time. Also, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a great pleasure seeing you. We're great friends with Universal Peace Federation as well, so we're both on the board of that at the same time, so it's great to sort of have you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, folks, well, thank you so much for watching another great show. I hope you found it very, very interesting today, very, very stimulating as well. Helena, unfortunately, is not too well today, so she's doing she's done the royal part from her home, but I hope she gets better soon. So from me, Ian Pelham-Turner, and obviously from Helena Chard as well, have a great week. Can I also thank Helidon Castrati from ALB UK Television for his continued support. Can I thank Nancy Dwen and Honey Calaria as well for their activities to actually get the show out across the world at the same time, and for Dr. Jacqueline Kerback from USA Global TV and Radio that actually puts out our show as well in America. Thank you, have a great week, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.